So let's talk about something that we all think we know, that keeping your money safe and sound in the bank is, the responsible thing to do. But what if I told you that for most of your cash, that's actually one of the most dangerous places you could possibly keep it? Yeah, let's dive in and find out why. I know, that sounds completely upside down, right? I mean, we're all taught to save our money. We get this real sense of security watching that number in our bank account go up. But that feeling of being good with money, it can be a massive illusion. It's a mistake that literally millions of people are making every single day, and it's costing them a fortune without them even realizing it. And the scale of this it's just staggering. I mean, get this. In the UK, there's over 526 billion pounds just sitting around in low interest accounts. That's affecting 29 million people. And over in the US, about half of all Americans have more than 8 grand just sitting idle. That is a colossal and absolutely monumental amount of money that's just leaking value day in and day out. Okay, so let's break down the first big danger. I want you to think of the cash in your bank account as the laziest employee you could ever possibly hire. Just think about it for a second. You put in the overtime. You deal with the stress. You give up evenings, weekends, time with your family to earn that money. You work hard. But what does your cash do for you in return? It just sits there, motionless, in a bank account not lifting a finger to create a single extra penny for you. It's basically clocking in and then taking a nap for its entire shift. Oh, and it gets so much worse. It's not just that your money is doing nothing, it's actively getting weaker. It's losing its power. That's inflation, right? That 10,000 pounds you have today simply won't buy you the same amount of stuff next year. So your lazy employee isn't just unproductive, it's actively shrinking your wealth while it sleeps on the job. So you've got a choice here. You can let your money be lazy cash, just sitting there getting weaker every single year. Or you can put it to work. You can put it in investments, where it has the potential to actually grow and generate even more money for you, all thanks to the magic of compounding. And it does all this while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation, while you're living your life. And the difference this choice makes over time, it's not small. It is dramatic. Just look at this. In 10 years, your lazy 10,000 pounds is still, well, 10,000 pounds, only now it buys you less. But that same money, if it was invested and put to work, it could have grown to over 21,000 pounds. That's more than double your money. That's an extra 11 grand you never had to trade an evening or a weekend for. Okay, so beyond just losing value to inflation, hoarding cash sets a whole bunch of sneaky psychological traps. Traps that can quietly sabotage your financial goals without you even noticing. So let's explore those. Now, this is the number one objection. And it's a totally valid one. I can hear you saying, but I need an emergency fund. And you're 100% right. You absolutely do. The trap, though, is that we tend to massively overestimate how big that fund really needs to be. We confuse having a smart safety net with having a giant pile of unproductive cash just lying around. So the first step, the crucial step, is to get really specific. An emergency fund isn't for fancy holidays or a new TV. It's to cover your absolute bare-bones essentials if everything went wrong. We're talking your mortgage or rent, groceries, essential bills, and the minimum payments on any debts. That's it. Add those up, and that is your core monthly expense number. And from there, the formula is simple. For basic protection, you just need 3 times that monthly number. If you want a bigger cushion, go for 6 months' worth. And hey, if your income is a bit unpredictable, maybe you go for 9. But, and this is the key, anything you're holding in cash above that calculated number isn't an emergency fund. It's what we call fear money. It's cash that's losing value just because of anxiety, not because of a smart strategy. Now, for the second trap, and this one is all about our brains. When you log into your bank account and see a big number sitting there, let's say it's £15,000, your brain doesn't see emergency fund or house deposit. No, your brain just sees lots of money. And that feeling, that sense of being flush with cash, makes it so much easier to justify those little impulse buys or booking that trip or ordering takeout again, because you feel rich, even if that money was meant for something important. So we've figured out your money is losing value, and it's tricking you into spending more. But there's a third layer of danger here that a lot of people are completely unaware of, risks that are just built right into the financial system itself. If you're in the UK, this number is absolutely critical to know. It's £85,000. That's the maximum amount the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, the FSCS, will protect per person per financial institution if that bank were to go bust. Anything you have above that amount in a single bank could potentially just vanish. And in the US, the equivalent FDIC protection is $250,000. Now, you might be thinking, hey, I'm nowhere near those limits, and that's totally fine. But if you're saving up for something big, like a down payment on a house, and your balance starts to creep up towards these numbers, you're taking on a risk that you absolutely do not need to take. So this all brings us to a really simple but incredibly powerful guideline, the 5-year rule. Look, the stock market can be a roller coaster in the short term, so you should never invest money that you know you're going to need in the next 1 to 5 years. But for any financial goal that's more than 5 years away, that money is missing out on a huge opportunity for growth by just sitting around as cash. Now, I want to tell you a quick story that just highlights this danger perfectly. You might think that being smart or wealthy makes you immune to scams, but having huge amounts of accessible cash can actually paint a giant target on your back. So meet Eric Bergman. He's a multimillionaire, the founder of a successful company, a very smart guy. Eric was targeted by an incredibly sophisticated scam. It started after he made a real donation. Then he got an invite to a fake WhatsApp group with a fake Mr. Beast and a bunch of other supposed billionaires. They chatted for a whole week, building trust, making it seem totally legit, before this exclusive crypto deal was announced. It was elaborate, believable, and just perfectly executed. So he felt the pressure, the fear of missing out on this once-in-a-lifetime deal. And over just 3 days, Eric transferred $1.2 million. Because he had the cash just sitting there, ready to go, the scammers were able to drain it. And of course, it was all a lie. The whole thing. The people, the trip, the investment, a complete and total fabrication, designed for one purpose, to get his accessible cash. It is a terrifying story, and it just goes to show how having too much liquid money can make you a prime target for these increasingly advanced scams. Okay, so after hearing about all these dangers, you might be feeling a little worried, thinking, well, what on earth am I supposed to do? The good news is, the solution isn't complicated at all. It really just boils down to a simple 3-step plan. Here's your action plan. First, just like we talked about, calculate your true emergency fund number. That's 3 to 6 months of your core expenses. Then, move that specific amount of money into a totally separate high-interest savings account. Out of sight, out of mind. Second, define your short-term goals. Figure out how much cash you need for big purchases in the next 1 to 5 years and set that aside. And for everything else, all your long-term money, it's time for step 3. Get it invested. Put that money to work in diversified, low-cost investments like index funds. It's a simple way to own a tiny piece of hundreds of great companies at once. It's time to finally let your money start working for you. So look, the big takeaway here isn't to panic. It's just to be intentional. You work incredibly hard for your money. So the final question I'll leave you with is this. Are you making sure your money is working just as hard for you? Thanks for tuning in.